there's a certain point where even the politicians, as corrupt as they are, realize that an extraordinarily large population of homeless people is going to become a physical danger to them.
That's
So
already
I,
happening in some cities, though. That's art like in Los
yeah.
Angeles. Some of the cities, parts of Texas, that's a problem.
So as far as the housing market goes, I do see that there's going to be like a lot of introspection. And I almost want to say that this is like just as like the collective. It might take you longer to find a house, or it might take you longer to say find the right house. There's going to be a lot of observation, there's going to be a lot of searching. There's going to be a lot of issues when it comes, like the hermit is usually like a soul searching card, and it's also a research card. And I think that what we're seeing there is the actuaries.
What about the interest rate? This has been a big issue. The Fed just lowered it, but there's no guarantee they won't raise it again.
The devil and justice. Some like I'm pulling these out and I'm seeing like it definitely looks like the housing market's actually going to balance out, because justice, the six of pentacles, this they're
Cards.
all very good cards. But it's interesting that I also picked out the devil, because that's usually a sign of permanence, but it's also like a sign of almost like an addiction or a greed. And to a point, I think that the housing might actually be tied to something political.
Could be. Well, how does that tie in with the cards you got before about religion?
Let's find out what's going to happen with a little bit more. I'm going to ask what's going on with the devil card in the housing market. What does this exactly mean? Hanged man. So there's going to be a lot of stuff in limbo. A lot of people are not going to want the terms that they're going to have to deal with. But they're going to be stuck, and it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle for the average American.
Well, if we have inflation, and the interest rates, like you were talking about the card you were drawing before, if things become scarce, if we do develop problems with double digit inflation, this could be a problem for people being able to afford a house. I mean, if interest rates skyrocket for buying a house.
I also see the three of cups, and usually this is the celebration card, and I also shuffled again, and I see the ace of pentacles. So I definitely see like there's going to be some serious alleviation of the housing crisis. It's not necessarily that people are going to have a hard time finding a house in the near future. It's that they may have to make sacrifices that they don't want. For example, they might not be able to keep their pets. Those who are able to keep their pets might have a much smaller house than what was traditional. Now, the Three of Cups, I also kind of got that feeling of it being a sense of banding together. Like you're going to start seeing a lot more roommates well into the 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. Or you might see like multi-generational houses.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people are going to start living a little bit more cramped quarters, so to speak, or they might end up like with communes simply
Okay.
because it's going to be hard to afford everything in the more traditional sense of the word. Like a traditional middle class lifestyle is going to be very, very hard to obtain, even with two salaries for the foreseeable future. At least that's what I'm feeling.
And
It
what's
might
that?
change in 10 to 20 years.
And what's that card you got that sort of gave you this whole thread? Which card do you
The
feel that signified this?
I think that it was that entire thread I got the Three of Cups from,
Oh yeah, Three of Cups, right? That's what you said.
but I also saw the Devil, which is like these are going to be long-standing contracts, and not everyone's going to like having to like, live with like another couple, or having their kids being raised partially by their aunties and their grandmas. Not everybody has a very supportive family, and that's going to make some people like struggle quite a bit. But at the same time, it's going to be overall beneficial, because a lot of people have been struggling with the hermit housing. Those who are alone are going to be very alone. Those
Loneliness.
who band together are going to be the ones who tend to do a lot better financially and socially and health wise. So to a point, it's almost as if like while it's going to be cheaper to live with people, it's also just going to be healthier for a lot of people as long as they choose the right people. Let's see what else we've got in terms of let's ask about the job market actually.
Oh, that's a really good one. Especially, I want you to ask your cards about, the evolution of AI and the change in technology. I mean, we're in a whole new technological era. We're starting an 18-year period, which is a whole new era of technology. How is that going to play out for jobs and what jobs will be good and the job market in general?
So let's find out what's going to happen with the AI and with the job market because I have my own feelings on the subject. So we're just gonna see what they say about the job market,
Oh,
AI, the whole works.
okay.
There's gonna be a lot of layoffs. There's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna be cut away. They're not gonna be able to get the type of jobs that they once had back. However, with the Page of Swords also comes apprenticeship. There's gonna be new skills. You're gonna see a lot more solopreneurs. You're gonna see a lot of people building their own brand, working towards X, Y, and Z. And to a point, this could also be a sign that we're going to start seeing a lot more people doing craftsman type stuff. Trades are going to be white hot, making candles, growing food, fixing plumbing, electricity, like all those things, those are going to be the new gold standard. You're not going to see people being like, marry a computer programmer. No, they're gonna be like, "No, marry yourself a blue collar person." And that's gonna be a very big shock for a lot of people who, their entire life have spent hearing, "Get an education, get an education, get an education." Physical skills are gonna start taking over because you can't really outsource all of them.
Well, think about it. Since so many immigrants are being forced out of the country and they are the source of our building trades, who's going to be
The
doing it
immigrants got
next?
deported. That means that those who are actually putting in the work, I'm not saying this in like the ice manner, but those who are actually willing to put in the physical work. Because you see the wooden stick here. What's being made here? It's wood.
Oh, wood, yes. Building.
Like, there's going to be people who are going to be able to fill those roles. And when they do, they're going to find themselves in a much better situation. But for some of these people, like, it's going to have to be a new dawn. People are going to hit their rock bottom. People who always thought that they'd have the cushy little office jobs. If they're not already putting in work, doing business, trying to market themselves, trying to create something new, they're going to find themselves they're going to have to recreate themselves. I also see a lot of logistics here. You're going to see a lot more courier work. You're going to see what happened to Oceana's right eye. Well, a box fell on my face at work. So, I was
Oh, no.
yeah, I was trying to like
I thought
cover
maybe
it
your
up.
cat did that because earlier when was talking to you, your cat was like hanging all over you. So I thought maybe you bumped into your cat or something.
Well, the scratch on my forehead actually was from me trying to bathe my cat
Oh, okay. When did that happen? Today?
a couple days ago.
Oh,
Trying to remove a cat from your face is a lot harder than it sounds.
no, no. I mean, if they
Mhm.
want to be there, they're going to be there.
It was one of my cats went full face hugger mode. He did not want his bath. Unfortunately, he had decided to go break dancing in a litter box.
Oh, no. Ick. He could be on a commercial. You know, the cat that's dancing that has to use the litter box?
Yes,
Get
but
your cat an agent.
well, he was also rolling around in his own turds. So,
Oh, no.
he
You know.
no, he does that as a tantrum if I don't put him in a dress or if I don't give him enough treats for his liking. So, that's that's the scratch that you see. There's a couple of other scratches up like near my eye,
Oh,
but
yeah, I see those. Yeah. I'm glad
yeah,
you're okay, though.
I'm fine.
Yeah, that's what Christopher said too. That was sweet, Christopher, to be concerned. I
Thank
talked to her
you.
earlier today and I noticed her eye, but I thought she was just having cat issues because there was a big cat on top of her when I was talking to her. So I just thought it was her cat. You're much more observant than I am, Christopher.
Yeah. So we're just gonna go with that. That small explanation. So let's ask a little bit more about, and I know that a lot of people get a little bit squicky about me doing this, but I have not actually laid the cards in a long time over the state of the country.
Okay.
So let's find out what's gonna happen with the state of the White House.
Okay. Do you encourage people in the chat, because there's some people here, if they have specific questions about these
Yes,
topics, please
ask
type
me.
them into the chat, and not just about your eye or your, that was very sweet of Christopher though. But if you have other questions, I mean, you talked about a lot of things, interest rates and the job market and
Mhm.
AI and housing. What?
Yes, a tarot reading for the Tuesday Generals meeting. Jeffrey Goldberg didn't get a mysterious invite like the Signal chat. Okay. I'm not sure if you heard all those fall out, but there is something. Um, so there's definitely something going on. This card keeps coming out.
Oh yeah, what is that? Second or third time?
Yeah, it's the 10 of Pentacles, and that's usually the family card. That's usually a good sign, but Page of Swords, I think people are going to be either let go or they're going to be expected to do a call to unity. It looks like something is going to be revealed, like some sort of like military plan or exactly. I want to say loyalty check because
Yeah, that's what Beth said.
what
Yeah.
what's going on right now, the moon shows not everything that they're showing is completely true and honest. So while they might be saying, oh, well, this is for a new scourge, the people who are there, they're going to have to either lie, get in line, or obey. And I see, like, right here, I see a lot of people, they're already on high alert.
Yeah.
Um, but this is the interesting thing. This is a wish card. This is the 10 of Pentacles, and this is like a happy family. And if you look, it shows red and blue united against something.
Well, what just happened with Jimmy Kimmel? There was a unification with that. Could that be something similar? And by the way, Musings who said, when you were commenting on that, said that's what scares
And
me.
something
Sorry.
is being hidden as usual.
Yeah,
Now,
you both said that.
the last two cards that came out are very, very promising because I see justice. So this might have something to do with the Supreme Court. It might actually open up another Supreme Court case and strength, which is gentleness taking the lion by the mouth.
I
The lion
just,
here,
I just want to know if we're gonna get justice from the Supreme Court, because it has not really been siding with the interest of the people, at least in my opinion.
it has not been. And on the bottom, these two kind of just like popped out. Or yes, I thought that there was more, but I see the Three of Swords and I see the Four of Swords. So I want to say that like there might actually be a physical injury involved with this. I don't know for who, but it's
Can you
interesting that
explain
I
that?
got the,
I'm
huh?
not. Could you explain that more? Like, Beth said, take the line by the balls. Is that what she said? Yeah, take the line.
Yeah. So, the two cards I got on the back, cause like I was, I was shuffling them, but I don't remember putting them backwards or anything like that, which is
No,
kind
you
of,
did. I didn't see you do
yeah.
that.
So, like, on the bottom was the strength and the justice card. So this is actually going to be like almost like a test of our sense of justice as a country. But I found it very strange that we got the Three of Swords and the Four of Swords. The Three of Swords is usually a betrayal, but can also be a heart attack or a physical injury.
Oh yeah. Okay.
For example, like I forget like the last time that I did um I don't remember if I actually predicted this, but like the last time that I did a tarot for America, I think I mentioned like some sort of political violence or some sort of person like dying.
Oh my God, Kirk, Charlie Kirk.
Remember that I had like a Three of Swords?
Yes,
And I
you
was like,
did. Yeah.
stuff is going to go down. I see a betrayal.
Yeah.
Kirk
And
is betrayed by their own right wing
Yanni says at some point POTUS is going to have to rule on who has the actual power of
of the
the
NG
yeah,
National Guard.
National Guard. That is going to be, and that could be people getting killed. There could be a skirmish. There could be a fight. There could be an outbreak.
But the reason I want to say that there is like I'm worried because when I see these two together, I see three of swords, and then the four of swords. Usually, I take that as a sign that things are going to get, you're going to have a rest, you're going to take a break. But look at the four of swords. That's a person lying in their crypt,
Yeesh. No, I don't like that.
and it's progressing. Like one goes to the other.
They're back to
So
back, right? They were connected they came out connected.
yeah.
Okay.
So my concern is that something is going to actually like there may actually be somebody might actually get very seriously hurt or even killed. I'm hoping that that's not the case regardless of where they stand politically because violence should not be the
No.
answer.
No.
But I am seeing that there may be something that comes from this they don't that they don't like. That or it could be that we end up here and while I was
Okay.
shuffling, these two fell out.
Oh no.
I'm not kidding. I did not plan this out. Death and the grief card.
Well,
I'm I'm just saying what I found. I'm just saying what I see. Um it could have something to do with Charlie Kirk's death. That could be the guise that they're using as a way to, you know, get all those generals involved. But what my number one gut feeling is that within maybe not immediately during, but shortly after, there's going to be another national tragedy. And this one's actually going to force people to look onto the side of justice. I think that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to start just refusing to accept orders.
which is the concern about the National Guard. It's concerned about the armed forces. Wasn't there just a crisis recently where some national leader, a foreign national leader, advised the National Guard and the military in the U.S. not to follow Trump's orders? Didn't that just happen last week?
I want to say it was Zelensky, or I want to say it was the Canadian dude. But I don't remember who it was, but I think he might have been right by that.
Well,
Um,
Well, on November the 11th, we have Uranus going retrograde at 29 degrees of Taurus, which is for its last hurrah because it's going to be in Taurus for a short time. Then it's going to turn around and come back into Gemini, where it's going to be for at least about 7 years. And, our president
Tantrum.
is a Gemini. So, and that's sudden upheaval, sudden change, unpredictable. It's revolution. Uranus is the planet of revolution.
So, with with Trump being in Gemini, it going into Gemini, what does that mean for the country?
It means a lot of change. We're in a period of chaos. We have been since last January. I mean, all the planets started changing. They went into new sign placements. Like, I was telling you personally that one of the things that were happening for you because you were experiencing all this turmoil is because you are a Pisces and Neptune, which had moved out of Pisces into Aries, retrograded back and said, you know what? I think I'm going to stay for a few more months. And because it's at the last degrees, it's stirring up stuff for you. And then we also had Saturn, which had moved out of Pisces, where it's been for 2.5, almost 3 years, into Aries. And it said, I think I'll go back as well. So it moved back. It's retrograde. So on November the 8th, we'll have Uranus and Neptune, and we'll have Saturn all retrograde. They're all moving backwards. So it means that we're retracing, we're looking back. It's like, revisiting issues, problems. What did we do wrong? A chance to make things right, a chance to think about it, and things that happened that were maybe tragedies or unpredictable or, shocking events like, Kirk's death gives us an opportunity as a nation to stop and go, hey, what is happening here? And why aren't we doing this or that? So when it goes into Gemini, it starts into a long period of time where there will be a continuing to be change, but it's also speaking. And look what's happening now. We have all these um, citizen journalists who are standing up, and look what's happening to the people on Substack. They're speaking out. They're sharing their voices. They're really putting out there. Like, look at Walter Ryan. I mean, he's a prime example. He's doing an amazing job of being a citizen journalist and speaking the truth. And that is going to happen with Uranus in Gemini for, the next several years. Communication is going to be critical, as Rachel pointed out. Yes.
Yes. And Christopher, I don't need to be a psychic to see that the US is losing their friends. As of right now, that reminds me of the time that my friend taught me how to tell if there's alligators in the waters of Florida. You see, they had me put my hand in water, and they're like, "You see how the water's wet?" It's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You see how it's kind of cold?" "Yeah." And then he was like, "Well, that's how you know that there's probably gators in the water of Florida. If it's wet and if it's cold."
Okay. Education as a lamp said Petro called for the U.S. military to join with European military to form a NATO force to protect Palestinians. His visa was revoked in retaliation. That's who I was thinking about. Yes, education. That it was Petro. Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, that just
Yeah.
happened like last week, right? Last couple
Hmm.
days. Yeah. Oh yeah,
So,
education said President Gustavo Petro. Yeah. Okay. Yes, thank you for explaining that. I sort of had the gist, but I didn't have the details. Oh, hi, Mason. I didn't have the details. So go ahead.
so what do you, when is this whole Gemini season, which has been slowly driving America insane, gonna end?
You don't want me to tell you that because it's a very long time.
Uh, ah.
I mean, we're talking
um,
almost a decade. We're talking almost a decade. And we just began an 18-year cycle with the planets where they've moved all into different signs. So where the different planets have different cycles, like Saturn takes 2.5 years to go through. So Saturn will be in Aries for 2.5 years once it moves in there in January. And then Uranus, which will move in to Gemini, it can take 11 years, more or less, to be where it's in a particular sign moving through. And then Neptune can take even longer than that, as long as 14 years. So these are outer planets and they move slower and they're going to bring a lot of change. There's going to be a huge amount of change in this country over the next 18 years.
so let's find out a little bit about what's going to be happening with our communications platforms when it comes to things like Substack, Medium, because for a growing number of people, most of us, including myself, we no longer trust mainstream media. Um, I've seen way too much of the shady backdoor deals to actually trust mainstream media these days. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've seen everything from pay to play to complete and utter denial of legitimate news stories. And it's gotten about, I'd say 10, 15, 20 times worse since I'd say 2015.
Yeah, especially Meta. Meta has really accelerated over the last 2 years. And it started when they announced that they were withdrawing their active moderation teams. They pulled out all their moderation teams, but now they're becoming extremely, like, for example, there's certain meta properties where you cannot publish about abortion or reproductive rights. And Pinterest, by the way, this was shocking to me. You cannot put heavy politics or reproductive rights or women's rights or abortion rights on Pinterest. It'll immediately be taken down. And the same is true for Facebook and Instagram. And there's some other sites that are doing that. If they don't take you down immediately, they may shadow ban you. So you may not think you're being censored, but you still are. And you've talked to me about that.
Yes, so let's find out what's going to be happening with mainstream media, with social media, because what's happening now cannot continue. I can tell you this as not as a psychic, but as somebody who is just boots on the ground. I'm seeing it and people are sick of this shit. Change in fate.
Well, that would make sense with all the change in all the outer planets. Especially
Um,
and Rachel, I think was it Rachel said she's a Gemini. Well, that's really good because the air signs are the people that are going to start really pushing hard to bring the truth that we need. They're going to be bringing the communication that we need.
and us emo fishes, we're gonna cry, I think.
No,
No,
Christopher said Pisces rock. Yes, they do.
yes, they do. So the next thing that I got, because I asked what's going to happen to mainstream media, I asked what was going to happen with social media. I see a really sick betrayal. Like, we're going to start seeing people walking away from it. We're going to start seeing more and more exposés about a lot of the social media groups. Um, I think that we're going to, and like, it's interesting that I got the change in fate card and then I got this. Because right now, social media and the mainstream media, they've been slowly like gripping us by the neck, so to speak. We've had actual documentaries like The Brainwashing of My Dad talk about like how people are getting brainwashed by this shit. And then after this, I see the 9 of Cups, which is interesting on the state of social media. So, and on the bottom, I see people fighting.
Guess
I think
what?
that
Guess what? Social media is ruled by Gemini. And what did I just tell you is going to be happening with Gemini? Uranus is moving in there, which is, basically with Uranus, you pour everything into a paper bag, shake it up, and pour it out. That is what's going to be happening. And by the way, Yanni is a Cancer. And by the way, Yanni, right now you have Jupiter there. So if you're not gaining weight, then your life is expanding in multiple ways. So it's not a bad thing. And us Pisces types, we really like Cancer. So thumbs up.
Mhm.
I like all signs, really. I haven't met a sign I don't like, but water signs are good.
So I definitely see a change in fate. It's interesting that I got the 3 of Swords and the 9 of Cups together. Um I think that that means that we're gonna see a lot of the things that they've been building up. Um, the very social media influencers that they started to groom for the right-wing takeover are going to find themselves on their asses, literally just out of a job, persona non grata. Um, People are going to start, like, really just walking away from it, and they're gonna be like, "Listen, man, everything that you guys said would happen has been a categoric lie." Um, so let's find out a little bit about what's going to happen with the non-mainstream social media people such as myself, Karen, and all my lovely Substackites and Beehivers and Mediumers. It's going, yeah, exactly. It's not going to be about massive groups anymore. It's going to be like individual people who actually put the word in to get the truth, and I think that's probably what that means.
Yeah,
'Cause
Christopher has a good point. Did you see what he said about that, Christopher?
yeah.
Yeah, good one, Christopher. Yeah.
So, let's find out about what's gonna happen with the underground creators, the nano creators in this new economy. Right now, I see, like, the Chariot, like, there's gonna be some people who are gonna be going places. It's gonna be a little bit of, it's gonna be a worldwide thing. But I also see the 9 of, Wands, which is a healing card. A lot of us are feeling battered. I myself know that I feel battered.
And
So,
not by your cat. And not by your cat.
yes, I keep hoping he will change. Um, I do see that things are gonna mellow out for a lot of content creators. I also see, because Temperance is a card of sobriety, I also kinda wanna say that my prediction, it almost feels like there's going to be a certain level of moderation that people are gonna start having with social media. Like, even even among, like, younger kids, I've started to notice that there's this tide turning against social media.
The Z
Y
Gen.
Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Like, it used to be that when I was, in teen and early 20s, if you were always on social media, you you were considered to be the cool kid. Like, that's how Tila Tequila got her start, that's how, Markiplier got his start, and there's still always gonna be the Tilas, the Markipliers, but I'm seeing now indie houses which are starting to make things like Knights of Guinevere, excellent, cartoon if you guys are interested, but I'm also seeing a lot of people who if you say that you're an incel or chronically online or a 4chaner or anything like that, people give you the side eye. Like, if they notice that you're constantly online or if you're constantly doom scrolling, there's a certain stigma that has come back into fashion, and I don't think it's ever gonna go away because we've started to see how absolutely toxic this shit can be.
Well, unfortunately, with all the censorship, that is really causing a heartache for a lot of people.
Speaking of which, we got some more stuff